So we've been asked throughout the years about the equipment we use during live shows, and today we're going to talk about exactly that. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get notified about our future music and videos, but for now, let's move on to the gear rundown.
It's alright. Let's call it. Hi, I'm Destiny's Child, and I'm here to talk you through my bass equipment. First things first, this is my kind of primary axe. It's a Fender Jazz. It's beautiful. It was the first proper guitar I ever played. Before that I was playing like an Encore P bass, and I just didn't get on with it. Nothing against an Encore. The neck was just too thick, and as soon as I started playing one of these, it was just easy. It's active. It's a Mexican Fender Deluxe, I think, 5-string. All these just crank all the way up. Just for a nice, big, punchy, gravelly tone. It's kind of it's like a C tuning, but a lot of the new stuff we play is in F, all the way to the bottom. So what I do is when we play those songs on this string here, I use my Digitech drop tuner to drop an octave. Backup guitar is this. It's an Epiphone Thunderbird. It's got a very, very specific tone to it. Yet again, just that nice gravelly, you can really sort of dig in. It sounds really great. Yeah, this one's passive, that's active. This is it's like orthopedic, it's like a cushion. When I was playing, I'd be jumping around and this guitar would just smash right on my knee, and after like 2-3 nights in a row, I was having trouble walking. So I got that, stuck it on, and now absolutely no problems. I have a shock absorber. That's really important. I mean, I could just change my strap, but I run these through a wireless system. I did a bit of research online, and I found these. The brand name is Ammoon. They're amazing. I'm not as tech savvy as the rest of the guys, so I get daunted quite easily. But you literally just plug in, switch it on, and it works. It's got a range of 30 meters, runs at 5.8 gigahertz. A lot of wireless systems run at 2.4, I think, which is the same as Wi-Fi, is microwaves, is like the locking system on your car. There's a lot of noise in that channel, but because this is 5.8, there's a lot less of that. One little flaw I did find actually is the hinge. It's a little bit loose. Got some sticky Velcro. Plug in. Good to go. Simple enough for me to use. It must be really good, and it's ridiculously cheap as well. So that's amazing. So I run into pedal board, and I run into my Boss tuner. Going to be around working longer than I am. It's like maybe 15 years old now, and it's just rugged and it will not stop. I run from there into a Digitech drop pedal. The new album we're playing is in like drop F. It's ridiculously low. It's amazing. So what I do is I tune it up to F, and then use the Digitech drop to digitally drop it an octave, and that gives me all the low end I need, and it gives me clarity, and also it allows me to keep the basses in a tuning which I can play well. You know, I can really get those high end and really get those grindy staccato notes without a lot of needless flap. I run then into my Electro-Harmonix mono synth. Like, I was very drunk, and we were all in a pub, and we all had this lovely little, I love you, I love you, and I was umming and ahhing about buying it. I woke up with the worst hangover, sprained ankle, and a mono synth pedal at my door. So, yeah, I'm trying to find ways to incorporate that into the songs. If there's a place for it, great. And then after that, I run into my Darkglass. It's just amazing. I'm really sorry to be one of those people one of those basics. All you hear is Darkglass, but really it's incredible. It just keeps all that low end, and it almost layers like a higher level of grind on the top. You can have this huge fat distortion and like a much more tight, which I prefer, like a tighter grindy distortion, and I don't lose any bass frequency. Completely worth the money. So I run from my Darkglass to a Boss noise suppressor. There's a fair amount of distortion, a lot of gain, and you really want a clean stop. You know, a lot of our songs now, they have like those quite staccato riffs, and I really like just the play stop. You know, just really having that space between the notes. My amp, I use a little Mk3. It's a Mark bass. It's a head and a 4x10 cab. We talked to a good friend of us, and he lent me this bass amp. And of course, you know, I've got an amp in the house. I'm gonna give it a go. It was amazing. It just sounds great. I can pick my cab up in one hand, head and the guitar in the other. If I get to a venue first, I can literally add all my gear in and have it there, and it just makes it a much more efficient touring unit. And as you can see, a lot of my stuff is covered in this sort of garish pink duct tape. I quite like that punky, aggressive fluorescent colours. Sometimes you get that and it's just like a wall of silver boxes. I know which all my stuff is. You know, it just makes things so much easier.
Hi, I'm Charlie, and I provide synths and vocals. So to give you a bit of information about my gear rundown, I need to provide the band backing track to their in-ears as well as backing track to the out-house. So this all needs to obviously be very portable. I've got a MacBook Pro, which I've used for years. It's been amazing. I mean, I like PCs more probably, but Macs tend to be more reliable, which is absolutely key when you're gigging live, as you all know. The audio interface that I use is a Motu Ultralite. Now, I picked this primarily because it's extremely ruggedized. Again, it's lasted years and years and years. I noticed some other bands using them as well, bands that do some incredible backing tracks, so I chose that. That's fed into the MacBook Pro by Thunderbird. All the backing track gets put out through that Motu Ultralite, out to out of house, and also to a wireless which hits the in-ears of Stu and Sai, one of our guitarists. We also have USB functionality connecting MIDI data to our second guitarist, John, which allows which allows him to have MIDI changes affecting the sound of the guitars. I've just kind of upgraded to ruggedized case, 19-inch rack case. I was taking the laptop everywhere in a laptop bag in the past, and even though that's extremely easy when moving things back and forth, it's not protecting the laptop, so you need to ensure that all of that is protected. You don't want that going wrong. The software that I use on the MacBook Pro is Reason. Not a popular choice for many. However, this is like completely legacy. For years and years and years I've been using it. It's what I know. In effect, all I'm really doing is running a backing track with a click track to the band, and also a backing track on its own to out of house. Still really easy in those projects to put individual WAV files down and throw them out. So I'm also a vocalist. There's an awful lot to talk about when it comes to the microphones, but I'm going to leave that to the other vocalist in the band.
So I love that. Hiya, I'm Simon. I play guitar. Let's give you a quick rundown of the equipment I use. I'll start with guitars. So for all the drop C tuning stuff, I use my Strandberg Masvidalien signature. Love this guitar. It's light as anything. It's so comfortable to play live. It's got an EMG 57, I believe, active pickup with a EMG EQ boost, which I tend to use always on. It's a 24 fret with the Strandberg signature. Interesting neck. Lovely, gorgeous to play, light as anything. That's for the drop C stuff. For our heavier stuff, new stuff which is about to come out, I've got this Ibanez, which is a RGD71ALMS, which rolls off the tongue really nicely. This is a lovely guitar to play. I think I've got an 80 gauge as the heavy string on this one because we use drop F. This has got Fisherman active pickups with a full tap. Again, lovely guitar to play live. So in terms of amps and pedals, both these guitars will run through my Line 6 G50 wireless unit, which then runs into a Boss noise suppressor. That is kind of redundant with the amp I'm using. Kept it on there on my pedal board, but I use it more as a mute, so I can just mute my channel. That then runs into a Korg pitch black tuner. I love that tuner because the display is really big, standing up in the dark. You see the LEDs and easily tune. That then goes to a Maxon OD808 overdrive, which again, when I get to the amp, you'll see it's redundant, but I like to use it for kind of a clean overdriven sound. So I'll use it on the clean channel as a little boost. That then goes into the amp. That's the front of the chain. That goes into the amp, which is a Blue Guitar Amp 1 Iridium edition. Love this little thing. Weighs next to nothing, can fit in your handbag, sounds great, really loud, and fits on the pedal board. So I decided to downsize. Previously I was using a Messer Dual Rec, got this purchase and love it for live gigs. So through that, got an effects loop going on. The effects loop on that amp is always on unless you have the MIDI foot switch, which I don't have. So I've got this little switcher pedal which will basically engage my loop and disengage my loop when I need it. Running through the loop, I've got a Boss digital delay and also a Boss EQ pedal. The EQ pedal I'm mainly using as a boost, so when it comes to solos, there's a little boosting signal to make that cut through the mix. That's it for the amp. That goes straight to the cab, which is a Harley Benton box standard 2x12 with V30 speakers in. Sounds great though, and again, because it's small 2x12, it's easy to pull around. Out of the amp as well, I've got a feed for my in-ears that we use. Backing track we get with the click from Charlie from the laptop goes into a mixer. That mixer blends the signal of that and the signal from my Blue Guitar amp. So I have a Moa cab sim pedal, which basically makes it sound like it's going for a cab. That goes into the mixer, and then from the mixer it goes to a Thomann T-Bone wireless system you've got the wireless packs, and that works fantastically. So when we play live, I've got backing, I've got click, and I've got guitars all in my ears. Don't have to worry too much about the monitors, don't really have to worry about how loud I am on stage because it's all in my ears. I've been running that solution for a while now and absolutely love it. It's changed the way I perform live.
Hello, I'm Kit. I'm one of the vocalists of Seething Akira. Just going to talk a bit more about the microphones that we use. In our earlier days, we found ourselves getting tangled quite a lot. Me and Charlie both used to use wired microphones. If you've seen us before, you know we moved just a little bit, so it became an absolute nightmare. We made a unanimous decision that wireless was definitely the key to go forward. We both opted for the Shure Beta 58A microphones. We've had these for years and years and years. We actually picked this up just before we supported Skindred on the day because we thought we've had enough of wired. Let's get it done. These run straight into the Shure BLX4 receivers. It also gives us quite a bit of range and enough range for what we need at the moment. At a later point, we might need to upgrade these to get a bigger receiver. AA's, not rechargeable because we hate the environment. It really gives us the flexibility to move wherever we like. Straight in XLR, we can take it straight from the microphones that are on stage. We can do all the management straight from there. They're very plug and play, so we just chuck the cable in, off you go. It's a lot less maintenance than other devices that we've looked at before. We can literally just take a Cat XLR that's run for other bands and we can run straight into our own equipment.
It's a really, really fantastic piss. I'm John, I play guitar, and this guitar, to be precise, is an Agile Scepter 727 loaded with bare knuckle aftermaths, which I run primarily into my Helix. Now, on the Helix, I tend to use the Line 6 Fatality amp. So the reason I chose the Line 6 Helix is actually because of the user interface. I have previously owned the Fractal Audio Axe effects, and you need to be a computer technician to work out how that thing works. The Helix interface is really good because it's basic and simple. You put your blocks in, you put your amp in, you put your cab sims or your IRs. Generally, I tend to use all of the stuff that came with it. I don't have any third-party IRs. I simply use the Line 6 XXL V30 loaded preset. Everything is controlled by MIDI, including patch changes, which add effects, add pitch shift, add all sorts. Really fantastic piece of gear, and I would fully recommend it to anybody who wants to use it. That runs into a power amp, which is currently a temporary solution, which is a Line 6 spider valve, which I cut the preamp out completely and use the power amp to actually power my cab, which is a frameless 2x12 loaded with V30s. I do also use a Line 6 G30 wireless. My Helix is controlled by Charlie's MacBook.
My name's Stu and I play drums. On my main drum kit, I use a Tamer Superstar Hyperdrive in white, which is a 5-piece drum kit with 2 floor toms, 1 high tom and 1 mid tom. For my snare drum, I use a Tamer Starphonic, which is 7-inch by 14-inch on top. The reason why I chose that one is so I can punch through the backing track of the band, so I have a bigger snare sound, which also sounds better when it's mic'd up as well, give that a better live feel. I dampen down with Moon Gel quite a lot just to give it that thud and that punch again to get through the backing track and the other 5 members in the band. Then for my cymbals, they're predominantly Sabian now. Originally they were Zildjian, but as I've gotten older I've sort of replaced them with Sabian. So I have my Sabian hi-hats. My first crash is a Zildjian A Custom. Second crash is a 16-inch Sabian, and I also have a 16-inch Sabian Ozone, which has the holes in it, just because it has a unique trashy sound that again just cuts through everything and makes it sound so much bigger. For my pedals, I use a Pearl Eliminator double pedal. I've previously tried the Tamer Iron Cobra, but it just felt a bit flimsy for me. With the Pearl range, it seems just much more sturdy. Part of my kit that I need for this band is my custom in-ears. I can get backing track feed, so it doesn't really matter what's going on with my monitor, what anyone else is playing in the band, whether they're too loud, too quiet, it doesn't really matter. I get a direct feed from the backing track, so I never lose my place, in theory. As well, my sticks, so at home I've got the Thomas Lang Signature Series. Because they're made of oak, they're a lot heavier, so they're a lot better to sort of practice with on a practice pad or a pillow or wherever you need to practice. But for my gigs and practicing with the band, I use the Vic Firth Nova series purely because they're £5 a pair and they're made of hickory. The cheaper ones are maple and they snap really easily. It's sort of the mid-range wood material. It gives me the life without spending too much money.
And that is it for the gear rundown. Thank you very much for watching. We are interested in what you guys are using and suggestions you might have to improve our own setups, so please let us know in the comments. But until next time, peace!